that Anthony Scaramucci is going to join us on an upcoming edition of our world-famous Jiggy Jaguar radio broadcast. And I am looking forward to talking to Mr. Anthony Scaramucci. I think that's going to be fun. I think we're going to have some fun with him. We tried Deanna Scott. She's nowhere to be found. We're going to give her till 15 after. I have notified her agent. He is going to see what he can do. So we are going to see what we can do. And we have... we're going to figure it out, kids, because if we can't, I don't know what we're going to do. I guess I'll just sit here and just talk about how I don't know what we're going to do. That'll be that'll be a good segment. That'll be a good segment for all of our stations. Yes. I don't know what we're going to do because our guest isn't here. But next week on our big program, we have got, in fact, let me see here. Where is my list? Remember, don't lose the list. I will not be live next Sunday either because we are going to be at the Comic-Con in Wichita, Kansas. The Air Capital Comic-Con, as they say. And I'll be out there dressed up like a woman. No, I'm not going to dress up like a woman. I wish I could dress up like a woman at the... Imagine me dressed up as a woman at the Comic-Con. No, we're not going to do that. Maybe I'll do that on Saturday. I don't know. Let's get some rumors started. It is the world-famous Jiggy Jaguar radio broadcast. Thanks for joining us today on iHeartRadio, AM, FM, 247.com, TuneIn, iTunes. On Radio Loyalty, Deanna Scott was supposed to join us in this segment, and she is nowhere to be found. We hunted her down. Haven't heard anything out of her. Let's see. I don't know. I don't know where she is. Her agent told me that the original date was for next Friday. So I guess we're going to talk to her next Friday. That won't matter because that's this show here, but that's fine. It's not a big deal. We are going to see if we can call Randy Weir a little early. And we'll see if we can get him in here. And get him to talk to us a little early. Maybe we'll get Scaramucci in here early. No, we won't get Scaramucci in here early.
This Randy.
Randy, how are you? It's James Lowe with iHeartRadio calling you for your radio interview. How are you, sir?
Great, James. How are you doing today?
Pretty good, actually. We had some weird things happen with some guests, and people flip-flopped, and there was all sorts of shenanigans, and so I am just now calling you. I apologize. Randy Weir with us today here in our broadcast. Warning signs of identity theft is the topic. And, of course, you know Randy Weir. He's the networking and cyber threat specialist, fictional crime writer, and author of the Jarvis Man Detective series. He's with us today here on our big program. Now, of course, everybody knows that once identity thieves have your personal information, they can drain your bank account. They can run up charges on your credit cards, open new utility accounts, or get medical treatment on your health insurance. And an identity theft can file a tax refund in your name, get your refund. In some extreme cases, that might even give your name to the police during an arrest. And we have got with us today networking and cyber threat specialist Randy Weir. He joins us live here on Skype audio. Now, Randy, I have never been, thank God, the victim of identity theft, but realistically, you've known me for a while. Why would anyone want to steal my identity? The thing is...
They want your money.
That's right.
They want your money.
That's right. They want your money, as I used to say. So, tell us a little bit about this, some of the different cases that you've heard of in the past.
Well, basically, the biggest thing that happens is, there's a lot of cyber criminals out there. And they get a hold of information, and then they can open up credit card, bank account in your name, and start charging things to your name with your identity. They get your social security number, your home address and everything. Get all that done, and then they purchase a bunch of stuff. And then you're can be on the hook for those charges unless you can prove it wasn't you, which can be a very hairy thing to get straightened out over time, and it screws up your credit rating badly.
We've got Randy Weir joining us today here in our program, Coast to Coast and Boulder to Boulder on iHeartRadio and AMFM247.com. And some clues that someone has stolen your information. You see withdrawals from your bank account that you can't explain. You don't get your bills or other mail. Merchants refuse your checks. Debt collectors call you about debts that aren't even yours. What are some other warning signs here, my friend?
Well, I often mention to people, obviously you get bills in the mail that you don't know anything about. Charges maybe on your credit cards but you really want to monitor your credit history pretty regularly. That can be a big clue. Has somebody tried to open up a credit card in your name? And there's a lot of services out there that you can go out and have them check your credit history. Many times your credit card or your bank may offer services as well, or have ties to other companies that can check your credit history. That's one of the biggest ways that you can notice that somebody's trying to open up a credit card for a MasterCard and it wasn't you in your name or in your wife's name. That's a big deal right there. That if you can catch that before it becomes an issue. They have a lot of security in place these days to try to prevent that. You have to give a lot of different information over the phone and ways, but a lot of that information can be easily found sometimes.
We've got Randy Weir joining us today here on our big program, Coast to Coast and Boulder to Boulder. And, of course, he's a networking and cyber threat specialist. He's also an independent writer. Look up his books on Amazon, the Jarvis Mann Detective Series. They are absolutely amazing. Now, what kind of protection is needed in order to make sure you remain safe, Randy?
Well, I think the biggest protection is just being smart. You've got to be very careful. We have a tendency to post everything on the web. We're working so fast on our computer, we're typing things and going along, and it's like, what is this information that I'm putting out there? Could it be used against me? A lot of security questions to get passwords reset are basic questions like your home, what high school you went to, what's your mother's maiden name, things like that. You just really need to be smart about the information you're sharing out on, especially on social media sites. And your social security number, you got to guard that with your life. Don't give that to just anybody.
Yes.
If it's for a job, you need to give a social security number because they need that information. But if somebody calls you up and says, ask for your social security number, they're doing some type of credit check or something, ask them why. Get some more information. They really shouldn't be asking you for that information, and don't freely give it away.
Well, I've had people in the past who have debt collectors that have called me, and the first thing that they do is I'll pick up the phone and I'll greet them, and then they turn around and they go, "And your social security number is blah 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 blah," and I'm like, "What in the world is this?" And I usually hang up on them, but. Yeah. It's the weirdest deal. What happens if some of these documents and some of these things get compromised, Randy?
Well, it's Katie bar the door, basically. It's just once it's out there, especially on the black internet, the black web, the dark web, or whatever people call it, passwords and social security numbers and your address and home information. They say children's identities are stolen just as much as adults these days. So your child gets a social security number as soon as they are born, and that information is used. out there, and their identity can be stolen, and they may only be 4 or 5 years old, which is a little scary. So it's hard. Once it gets out there, it's hard to stop, and that's why I say you've got to be smart about what you do. Be suspicious of all emails sent to you. There's links in emails. You click on those links. You don't think about it. It takes you somewhere to a website that looks like your bank site, and then you start typing in information. It's really it's best to stop it and prevent it as much as you can. We're the first line of defense, and you've got to be smart when you're put out there on the web.
We've got Randy Weir with us today. He joins us live here on our big program here on iHeartRadio, and also the Mix on Tuesdays. And bring us up to speed on your writing, my friend. I know that you're doing all sorts of things with the detective series and lots of things you're involved in. Bring us up to speed on everything.
Well, my 7th book, The Front Range Butcher, was out in May, and seems to be doing pretty well. And I have a new book that I'm working on now. It's in the hands of beta readers. It'll be the 8th book in the series, Man in the Crossfire, and I'm hoping to have that out sometime first of the year. And it's holiday season, so I'm doing a lot of local craft fairs here in the Denver metro area, hoping to sell a lot of books and maybe make some new fans. And people are always looking for those great gifts for Christmas. And a local author, especially here where I live here in Denver, is a great gift for someone, and maybe even a surprise gift for the voracious reader who enjoys those type of old hard-boiled detective novels.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, I appreciate you making time for us today. Thanks for coming on our broadcast, my friend. I really enjoyed the chance to chat with you again.
Thanks, James. Always glad to be on.
Definitely. Well, we'll talk to you soon. There goes Randy Weir. Look him up on Amazon. He's got a lot of cool things going on. And we are going to take a break. And when we come back, we are going to talk to John Coons. He is coming up. Where's my music? It would help if I hit the music.